We can't lay everything that's been happening with the Republican Party at Trump's feet. At best, I can look at Trump and say that he exploited it. That's not to say that he doesn't share a lot of their views, because clearly he's been keeping these views hidden since he was a Democrat for years, and suddenly decided to, make these views public, take advantage of the Republican Party. The views I'm referring to, man, what can I say about the shooting that happened in New Zealand? Ridiculous. This white nationalism is becoming a real problem worldwide, and nobody wants to address it because the individuals that are perpetrating it are white. White nationalism is kind of something that people kind of poo-poo away. They pretend it's not a big deal, even though it's becoming a bigger deal all the time. And Trump's supporters do not want anyone to lay this at his feet. The bigotry in the Republican Party has been a long time growing. It's not something new. It's really, you can trace it back to the 60s. People like to say, oh, the Republicans freed the slaves. Man, Lincoln wouldn't want anything to do with Donald John Trump. It's basically become a haven for the so-called forgotten white male. And when I hear that, I have to laugh. For one, nobody's forgotten white males. They own a good 80% of the businesses, and probably more, probably closer to 90% of the businesses in any given town, of any given size. You forgotten? Have the highest per capita income, own the most property. You forgotten? How the hell can anybody forget you? What are you talking about? I'll tell you what they're talking about. They want the world to give them a pass on their bigotry. They want to be biggest out in public. That's what this is really about. Not about them being forgotten. They want the world to give them a pass for their bigoted ways. See, they go to the Republican Party. I'm sorry, I should really correct myself. I really apologize, listeners. They go to the Republican Party. That's really what it's become now. Except for, 12 of them did go against Trump recently regarding his national emergency. So somebody in the Republican Party is kind of pushing against it, but it's not happening on a large scale. But it's just become a disease, man. But it's been a disease. It's just that now it's on the world stage for everyone to get a closer look at. I say a closer look because you'd have to be blind and not have seen it beforehand. So I will say a closer look at what's been going on. That attack on the people in the mosque, man, that happened to black Americans at that church on the East Coast. It's the same thing. White nationalism is not getting the attention it should. It's becoming a huge problem, and people like Donald Trump exacerbate it. They take advantage of it. They exploit it. So-called party of personal responsibility. How much responsibility has Trump taken? Well, I haven't seen it. He takes responsibility for positive things, never anything negative. But it's just become a disease. I'm gonna say it again. You got all these young white males entitled who feel that the world should be at their doorstep and that everybody should allow them to behave how they wish, talk about anybody any kind of way they want to. That's why they don't like the so-called PC culture. They want to be able to call people racial slurs. They feel entitled to this behavior. That's why they go on and on about free speech. They want to be able to talk about anyone any kind of way. They want to be able to treat anybody any kind of way. That's what Make America Great Again is really about. Back to a time when you go to church, praise the Lord in the morning, and spend the evening kicking the shit out of a minority because they tried to vote and call them nasty names to boot. That's what Make America Great Again is about. Notice how when you ask somebody about making America great again, they can't give you a direct answer. That's because the answer isn't pretty. The answer is not rooted in anything peaceful. Modern conservatism, which is basically, you could say it's the party of Trump, and I joke and call it the Republican Party, mainly because these guys spend so much time just doing whatever Trump wants them to do. But it really started before him, and he exploited it, and man, he has taken that ball and ran with it. 100 yards or more, ran the entire field. But they're really on the wrong side of history. We've got to climb out of this hole, man. You hear this? You made it this far into the video? Get your butt to the polls, man. Vote these guys out. Vote Trump out at the very least.